Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 1.75 of Schlockcast. We have decided to go the Kingdom Hearts route. Next episode will be 1.8 Final Mix HD over 365 days.
It will also have, it'll be a trading card game in the form of a podcast.
Right.
And you have to beat it and go through the 172 hours of gameplay, or you'll be completely lost when episode 2 comes out.
That's true. Jokes aside, as Arthur mentioned last week, we chose probably the worst possible time to start a project with all of us very busy in various aspects. But instead of delaying, we decided why not throw out just a fun little bonus episode with something that's less schlock and more a fond look back on the nerd culture of yesteryear. By which I mean
this is
watching a home movie. No, home movies giving it too little credit. A fan-made video game film from 2005, Karnov, the movie. Now, Arthur, when I say the word Karnov, what comes to mind for you?
A 2D platformer that I have run across many times at flea markets and never picked up because it never quite interested me. And I remember it had an orange label, and I know there's like fire breath and side scroll.
How did it not appeal to you? Because the cover of the game is a giant Soviet strongman with no shirt, red pants, breathing fire with a T-Rex behind him.
See,
which might be the coolest thing I've ever seen.
The thing with me and the NES, even growing up, was I was always extremely selective when it came to what I played or even tried. Because I was aware, even at a young age, of the Atari effect, where a game would look cool in its art, and you'd play it, and it would be ass. Because specifically, I learned this through Friday the 13th.
All right.
Pre
Friday
the episode, the nerd
is
episode.
Good.
It's not
It's a
good.
straight up good game.
It's very confusing when you're 9.
Not that confusing. Play it again. It's got great graphics, great sound. It controls well. It's got a cool concept. You figure out how to navigate the map. And it's probably the only way you could make a Friday the 13th game on an 8-bit console.
It's kind of wild that and the Freddy game came out. I'll be real. Like it's
Nightmare on
kind
Elm
of
Street,
insane.
also a good NES game.
Yeah.
Neither of those are as weird as the Toxic Crusader game on NES. The fact that the Toxic Avenger got turned into a children's TV show is completely insane. But
it was 80s. It was complete 80s style like animated show, right? Like
early 90s. Yeah, like 92.
Yeah, man, the late 80s, early 90s was a really weird time.
Of all the R-rated movies to get turned into NES games, the most confusing is probably Platoon. You know, the depressing Vietnam War film.
Yeah.
That got turned into a game. Who was that
for? Dirty Harry got a game.
Dirty Harry got a game. RoboCop got several games.
Of course,
Terminator
RoboCop got several games.
RoboCop
kind of made sense.
They're appealing to kids.
Because, with RoboCop, they also fucking childized RoboCop anyway, right? Like, the RoboCop 3 was a joke. It was a cartoon. Like, embarrassing when you look at the original.
Who was the Platoon game for? Was it for dads?
It's maybe it was for dads who bought their kids an NES for Mario and Duck Hunt.
It's not a bad game, actually. But getting back to Karnov never, had that mainstream appeal, but he showed up in a lot of video games. Because Data East, who made Karnov, first made, the arcade game Karnov, came home to the NES, and then he showed up in a ton of other games. All of the Fighters History fighting games, Karnov is either a playable character or a boss. Probably when I say Karnov, a significant number of listeners are all immediately going to say, oh, Balloon. Which if you don't know that reference, just look up his moveset in Fighter's History. Because one of his moves is he jumps into the air and becomes a balloon. And just yells balloon. It's quite funny. But he shows up as a bad guy in a lot of Data East games. Like, I think in Bad Dudes, the arcade one, he's like the level 1 boss. He was like a mascot character for Data East. And a lot of people, myself included, have a weird fondness for Karnov. First off, I will say, I think the NES game is just straight up good. You should pick it up. It's still like a $10 game at most.
Oh, yeah. It's in that category of very relatively common, very cheap, which is like, you know what's... I want a little bit of a tangent
A lot
here.
of those games are good.
It's very interesting how much of the NES library is that. Like, I'd say 90% of the NES library is that. Just
and
very
a lot
inexpensive,
of its best
very easy to
games
find.
Are really cheap still. You know, Karnov is a $10 game. Rygar is a $10 game. That one's amazing. Blaster Master is still like a $10 game.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not, you know, one of the name brand games, it's still probably pretty cheap.
Yeah, you have like the tiers are like the relatively uncommon to common stuff, and then like 2% of the set is like the weird uncommon stuff that's not really that great, but it's like, you know, and then you got the 7% that's like pretty decent, well known, people really like it, and then the 1% of like just absurdly rare.
Right.
Like, yeah, just ridiculous. The 25, 30 games that are just like, this just wasn't
right.
printed.
Those ones together cost more than the rest of the library.
Yeah, you take the top 30, 40 games and you could buy like 3 or 4, no, not even, like 17 different sets of every other game.
Pretty much.
in the NES library, yeah.
I have about 400 NES games, and it's my largest collection for any console. It is assuredly not the most expensive, despite how many games I have for it. And I have some pretty expensive ones.
I'm going to make a guess that your most expensive set is Sega Saturn.
Probably not. Probably Sega CD.
Oh, you've got good CD.
I do.
It's really a shot in the dark between CD and American CD or American Saturn, depending on for collectors of which is going to be more, if they collect both, which is going to be more crazy.
PS2 could also be up there, because most of them I either got as they were coming out, or, you know, a couple of years after the PS2's prime when nobody cared about it. You know, like, I think I paid $15 for Xenosaga 3.
Yeah. There's always that wonderful period, like, where it's like 2 to 3 years after the new console variant comes out, when everything for the previous console variant is just
about PS2 in 2009. Nobody cared in 2010. You could just buy... Some games, I still have the stickers on them. I paid $1.79 for some games.
Yeah, like that happened.
Good games.
Recently, like the last time I remember this happening was PS3 and 360 specifically. Was both of those consoles were dirt. They were dirt.
Cheap.
Nobody collected for them. Nobody really cared. I remember, like back in 2018, 2019, stuff like Operation Darkness and like all the like Spectre Force 3 and all these random uncommon RPGs where like you could you could get these at GameStop in like 2016, 2017, 2018 for like literally $5.
Yeah.
Like straight up $5.
Nobody wanted them.
And yeah, if you could find them. Of course they were uncommon, but like, you know, you wouldn't find them all over the place, but you would find them.
You'd get them.
Yeah. And now $100 easy.
Well, see, this is why you shouldn't be a collector. You should be somebody who likes to play games. Because then you're buying stuff that you are personally interested in and you want to play. You don't care if it's a few years out of date.
Exactly.
All this is to say, Noah, promise me next time you see a copy of Karnov, if it's under $10, buy it.
Well, here's the problem. Bloom, you're going to be so mad at me.
Do you not have
I don't
an
have
NES?
an NES. I don't have an NES.
Motherfucker.
No.
How do you not have an NES?
I had it one of the like HD the FPGA
the Retron
systems.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, a good one, not a Retron piece of shit. But like
the analog
a good
NT
one.
or something.
Yeah, it was like one of those style. It was a different one. But like I ended up getting rid of my 8-bit my NES set just because it didn't have enough games I was interested in playing.
How does it not have enough games? It's got like 800 games.
I know. Listen, I know. I have so many games to play, Bloom, and it's hard. All I do is talk. It's
NES
all
games
I do.
are short.
90%. Yeah.
You can just play them. You could be done with Karnov in 4 hours. Easy.
But what if instead I played 300 hours of Pokemon?
I mean, you could do that. Or you could play a game where you star as Jinborov Karnovsky, vaguely Soviet Central Asian strongman who breathes fire for some reason that's never explained. I suppose you haven't played Karnov on NES. This does tie into the film that we just watched, which actually follows the story of the game. It lays it out right at the start.
Yeah, we have not tricked you into listening to two men talk about video games, primarily.
There will be lots of video game talk, but we did, in fact, watch this fan-made film by a site back in the day called Galaxy 454. This was premiered, I believe, in March of 2005.
What was this originally uploaded to, I wonder?
To their personal website.
God, those were the days. When everyone had their own sites they uploaded videos to on janky players.
Right. I mean, YouTube did not yet exist in March. It was later that year in 2005. So this was very much the era of, AVGN uploading to Screw Attack. We're talking bespoke web hosting and people making things not to make content, but because they loved these things and they wanted to make whatever. They wanted to make things referencing the nerdy old games that they loved. Which even in 2005, this was old and busted. Nobody cared about the NES. Except nerds.
This was the time
nerds.
when you could buy like NES games for like $1 at like EB Games.
Oh yeah,
or Game Traders. Like it was just they were worthless, uncollectible. Like this is the era of like flea markets when you could go to flea markets and you would just find piles of games for $10 and like whole totes full because nobody cared.
Right. I mean, even by then, you wouldn't even see them in stores anymore. At that point.
Yeah, some places would start phasing them out in the later 20-aughts.
Right. Oh, they were mostly phased out by like 2002 in my experience.
I mean, I remember seeing them still in EB Games until like...
They were still at Funkoland.
Yeah, so like specific gaming-related major chains would still have them.
But...
Yeah, but the retro game store really almost didn't exist back then, too.
Well, there were just game stores.
Yeah.
And then, they'd phase out the old... I remember Software Etc., probably in the late 90s, had a big bin in the center of the store. NES games were $1 a piece.
Oh, man.
Which we got a bunch because we didn't have a lot of money. And, if the choice was, well, you could get one newer game or a whole bunch of old ones. Whole bunch of old ones was still pretty attractive.
Yeah, $30 for a new game or 30 old games? I think I'm going to go with the old ones, actually.
I mean, sometimes you would, sometimes you wouldn't.
But the crazy thing about the film we're talking about today is there was no incentive. Like, in the modern day, right, what is the incentive? You create something like this in order to upload it and make ad revenue and sell merch. And that back then, the most you would get is maybe if you were lucky, you would produce a DVD. You would print a DVD and you would release it of whatever the film project you were doing, and maybe some people would buy it. You're not really making your money back in most cases, but you had fun, right? Everything about this had so much heart and care put into it, and it shows. And that, maybe we're bearing the lead a little bit, but we are talking about the 2005 Karnov the movie.
Yes. Now, Karnov, the NES game, which this takes all of its inspiration from, the story to that one in the U.S. is that the land of Kriamina is beset by a terrible dragon named Ryu, which is a dragon named Dragon, because, Ryu just means dragon, translation note, who has stolen the treasure of Babylon. And so famous strongman Jinbarov Karnovsky has to go defeat the dragon, get the treasure back, and save the land. Great.
As you do.
They reference that in the film. The story in the Japanese version of the game, the Famicom version specifically, we're talking about the home port, not the arcade. The story is Karnov was an evil man who did nothing but bad things his whole life. And so as punishment, God raises him from the dead and forces him to do good deeds.
What?
That's the story in the Japanese version. And he has to go kill a wizard.
Excuse me?
Who is oppressing the people. Right. He is an undead warrior forced to do good against his will because he is a villain.
Well, then.
Which is much more in line with Karnov's characterization in every other game where he appears, where he is explicitly a villain.
That really does explain a lot about what happens in this film.
It does.
Maybe they were more accurate than we expected.
I don't know if they knew that or not. We'll get there. Now, one other thing I want to point out. How familiar are you with the Shantae series of games?
Very familiar. I know a lot. Shantae was, it was the extremely ahead of its time, like pushed the console to its limit Game Boy Color game by WayForward, and then it didn't do well at all, and WayForward buried the IP after they were going to produce a GBA game, but they canceled it and started working on basically what became pay for work jobs of
contract
just doing contract development.
Yep, they've done tons of that, but then Shantae came back. It's a very successful series these days.
Yeah.
Now, in one of the later Shantae games, her father's identity is a mystery. It's a human man, and you see him in silhouette. It's definitely Karnov.
What?
Karnov is for sure Shantae's dad. Now, they don't have the rights, but his silhouette plus the music that plays, it's Karnov. Just a fun little thing for you there. But why don't we talk about the film a bit, because it is delightful. Now, it does appear... I think you can still buy the DVD. I found a Wix site for Galaxy 454, so maybe their original shop is gone. But I think I can buy the Karnov DVD. It is $10.
Do you think that anyone is still checking that website to mail out those DVDs? That's the real question.
I'm going to order it right now, live as we are speaking, and see if it arrives. Because it's $15. Oh, it says, we can't accept online orders right now. Please contact us to complete your purchase. I'm going to.
Oh.
I'm going to do that later. I want to see if I can buy this DVD because I loved this. I want to support them, even if it's 20 years after the fact. Now, it should be noted, a lot of this movie has the classic feel of friends messing around in the woods with a camera and shooting a movie. If you or any of your friends ever had a video camera, when you were kids, you probably did something like this at some point, but never committed to it. So maybe you shot one or two scenes of you and friends like clacking wooden swords together in the woods.
Yeah.
I know I did that. Footage is thankfully long dead.
Oh, mine as well. There is footage on a hi-8 tape somewhere buried in a trash heap of me being cringe with my friends when I was 13, 14. But the thing that I find most interesting about this is how much effort was put into it.
Right. They really made a movie.
They genuinely made a movie.
It's only 30 minutes, but they made a short movie. And it's got a cohesive story. It even starts with a bit of like a let us tell you the tale kind of scene where a child is sloshing through the woods in a horrible storm, walking in the river for some reason.
Feet in the river. Yeah, could not walk along the side of the river. Has to slosh directly through.
Right through the water. Should be noted, they do a lot to keep any modern stuff out of the shot, to let you believe that this is a medieval fantasy world. They really try their hardest, and it mostly works for me. You know, it's, I think, about the same amount of effort you'd see from a lot of, you know, video store movies you'd see in the 80s and 90s. Where it's like, yeah, they're just out in the woods, like, you know, local nature preserve. But they're doing okay.
Yeah.
Child arrives at a tent, goes in for shelter, sees a weird, creepy old man.
An old, ghoulish figure.
And immediately asks, why is your face fucked up? Not in those exact words. They're speaking with like a quasi-elevated medieval speech. But the old man tells us, sets up the story, which is just the story of Karnov, the NES game, set over footage of the video game, which is pretty neat, which was also very obviously filmed by somebody just pointing their camera at a TV. But, you know, you get a little look. The story is set up. And it should be pointed out, this movie's 30 minutes long. I don't think we actually see Karnov until more than a third of the way in. But then...
it was a shocking amount of setup for a 30-minute film. Yeah.
Right. Which, let's be fair, it's kind of hard to to make a movie. You gotta pad it somewhere. You might think, oh, we've got tons of material, and then you start editing it and realize, oh, we have 15 minutes.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
we gotta pad this. We gotta make runtime. But then we snap cut to the present, and surprise of surprises, we're in the woods. Somebody's stumbling about. They've got blood all over their face and a big gash on their back. What has befallen this poor man?
And two knights run up to the man, their plastic shields in hand, clickety clacking.
They cleaned out a party city.
They absolutely. It was they were costumed up. It was great. There's so many unique people with all like legitimately at least like 15 guys all have various different night costumes in this movie.
Not just the night costumes. We'll get to the fun part later.
Oh yeah.
But basically, the dying man tells these knights, a man with a lion on a leash did this to me, and then he dies. Now, ardent fans of the game Karnov on the NES might remember the man with a leashed lion is, I believe, the boss of level 2. It's been a little while since I've played Karnov, but it's a game I've beaten multiple times. It's not that hard. It has a reputation for being hard. I think that's overblown. Play Karnov. Play Karnov, Arthur. Do it. Do it.
Listen.
Don't you want to play it after seeing this film?
I do kind of want to play it a little bit. I will say that. I do kind of, maybe a little bit, but want to play it.
It's fun. Anyway, so the knights go report back, not just to one king. What do we find when we get to
our three gay dad kings are snickering and cavorting about in their big thrones.
Exceedingly foppish. I should point out the castle appears to be a church that they were allowed to film in. I'm guessing, now I have not seen the making of feature on the DVD, because apparently I need to reach out to the makers personally to ask for a DVD. I think it was probably like a church or a local university or something, just let them film. Because it's a real building, and it looks not medieval, but, you know, close enough. And we do have, you know, our three gay kings, which appears to be like a father and two sons. You know, one is meant to look old, two are meant to look younger. One is holding what I can only describe as the Yandere Dev cum chalice.
It is.
It's a giant goblet
perhaps
of milk.
Even bigger than the goblet.
I
it is
think
an
it's
incredible
bigger.
Milk goblet.
It's like holding a gallon of milk. He's just holding that the whole time.
I could smell it turning warm in that cup. I can smell how unpleasant that milk is becoming.
It's they're very odd. The one in the center, the older one, will say something, then the two lackey kings will, riff on it and repeat it. Very snarky, very snide, very foppish, to be polite about it. But so the knights report in and say, a man with a lion. They're being very dismissive until he says, on a leash. And we get one of my favorite line deliveries of the film where the main king just goes, oh, fuck.
Yeah. And it's so, I think a lot of us in today's day and age, we're very irony poisoned by these kind of things. But there's just something so honest and just brazen about it. And it's genuinely gets a chuckle. It gets a real laugh where in a lot of other situations, this kind of, if you write the same scenario, if someone in 2019 had written this scenario, we would have all rolled our eyes. Right. But there's something about this, the way the delivery, how everything is shot, it's so honest.
It feels very sincere, the whole film. You could tell this is a bunch of friends making a movie together. They're just going to have a good time with it. But so it becomes clear the evil Ryu is back and, oh no, we need a hero to save the land. Let's send our strange page, caller, whatever, whose name is Gorp. Send him out to, go recruit.
Gorp the Barker.
Yeah, Gorp the town crier. Or, royal page, whatever. He's in a silly blue hat and vest. He goes to some, assorted village. We get a wisecrack that, we won't find a hero in this 8-bit town. Tries to communicate with them.
Something I noticed about the village specifically was that they were doing the classic peasant thing that you see that you always saw in all of these films, like the Monty Python. There's some good mud over here. Oh yeah, of just smacking random sticks together. Nothing that's being done in this village is productive.
They did make little houses out in the woods out of sticks and tarps and shit. Like they actually made a real set with buildings you can go in and out of. Which, again, you can think this is a group of friends who want to make a movie. You can imagine everybody being like, okay, go find good sticks. I like that kind of stuff. I think that's fun.
Yeah, but it's very charming.
Right. One of the townspeople eventually runs off, and we can tell, he's looking for Karnov. And we just get a shot of him in shadow, who appears to be a hulking bald man, played by, I'm almost certain, is the director's father, just going by the names we saw in the credits. But then we cut to what is probably one of my top 3 scenes in the film, which is the hero audition. We've got the kings are looking for somebody to stop the threat. And this is it's very easy to take the modern irony-poisoned route of, I recognize the thing on the screen, so I clapped. I know what that is. But there's a certain innocence and fun to it, especially with this being 2005. It was not cool in any way to make nerdy short films about a nearly 20-year-old video game.
Yeah, you were getting dunked in the fucking pool. You were getting pushed into the pool against your will. Like if they found out that you did this, they were stealing your book bag and they were throwing it into the fountain. Like it was, and so you see all of these heroes from various NES games, popular and obscure, down the line.
We went down the line, and it looked like we had Golgo 13. We've got, I'm not sure on the second, we've got Rygar, we've got Captain Skyhawk, we've got the Black Mage from Final Fantasy, Ryu, we've got the Burger Time Chef, Paperboy, Bill from Contra, some wrestlers, and a truly hysterical and horrific looking stop motion claymation Kirby floating around.
Incredible, honestly.
It is
for a fan film. Like, it looks way better than it should.
Right.
Like, put into this digital, like, just slapped into this digital film.
And these are all, looks like handmade cosplays, the kind that you would see at a gaming convention in the 2000s. I can remember going to Kineticon around this time, and yeah, that's what cosplay looked like. It wasn't polished yet.
Yeah.
The idea of professional cosplayer didn't really exist.
Yeah, the communities forming and then eventually creating that kind of like high-end effort didn't really start till the mid.
It was just
to late 2000s.
It was just coming about. There were certainly polished ones, but your average.
It existed from time to time, but like it wasn't as prevalent as it is now. Where you'll go to one of the contests and it will be just incredible costume on incredible costume on incredible costume. People who put like 1,000 hours into just designing one piece for this one convention. Right.
Whereas like the chef from Burger Time, it's like, oh, I could do that cosplay. Let me do that.
Yeah.
Carry around, a big salt shaker, and then people will know who I am. Very, very charming. And who are the first heroes interviewed for, this position?
Well, if you're going to interview anyone, you got to interview the Mario Brothers. And it's very good Mario Brothers actors, honestly. They fit pretty well. And they're bantering with the gay kings, and they're asking them all kinds of questions about their resume, and they're like, "So you killed King Koopa?" And there's a back and forth argument between Mario and Luigi of
which one of you killed him.
It's like, no, Mario did it. Mario, what do you? Oh, Luigi, you're
Mario.
so fucking stupid.
I think he says that at one point. He's like, Luigi, you're not fucking this up.
It's incredible.
It's really funny.
And so the kings ask, "Oh, how did you kill this King Koopa?" And Mario just looks up and he says, "Oh, I step on his head."
To which the king says,
of horror.
"How much do you weigh?" Now, it should be noted, the Mario is quite rotund and Luigi is, average and tall.
Yeah.
And eventually they just dismiss them out of hand, like, we don't need you. Get out of here. Very, very dismissive. Quite a funny little scene. Lots of face slapping between the brothers too, which is quite endearing. Also, the kings, it should be noted, are all wearing extremely plastic looking Party City crowns and just big red and white trimmed bathrobes. Not, they spared every expense putting together their king outfits. The chairs are pretty nice, though. The chairs are pretty big. Looks like they just borrowed them from, the church somewhere. But then finally, the hero, Jinbarov Karnovsky, arrives. And
a man in a big, round, rotund man in the worst bald cap you've ever seen.
It is a fat, late middle-aged man in a pair of tight red pants, a big fake mustache, and a really not blended at all bald cap.
No,
which I should point out.
I could see in a couple scenes they tried, but it didn't really work out.
Right. Is not actually that far off from how Karnov looks in-game. He is a hulking mountain of a, Central Asian Soviet strongman. Except this guy is clearly past his prime. Hairy chest, big fat hairy belly. And, it makes sense. We know he's already defeated the hero once. He's retired. But he shows up because he hears, the land is in trouble. He wants to help. Which is surprising for Karnov, frankly.
Yeah.
But so, how do the kings respond to his very gracious offer? They recognize him. They're like, Jinbarov Karnovsky, it's you. You look like shit.
They recognize him like a Twitch chat does to the average streamer. They say, "Ew, you smell and you stink and I hate you. Get out of here, you big fat lard."
I mean, my chat's very nice to me. I don't know what's going on over at the the Arthur Abbott channel.
Literally no one knows how hard it is to be me. Nobody knows. But so yeah, everyone is super rude. Like everyone just sucks. They're all
every guard in the castle. And Karnov's just like looking down at his feet awkwardly, like, you know, the kid in school getting bullied who wants to go home. You know, no expression on his face other than sadness and disappointment. They tell him that he smells like sewage. They're just so mean to him. They're all pointing and laughing. All of the guards, they all get individual lines making fun of him, just roasting his ass. And Karnov leaves, dejected, looking down, walks, has his moment of contemplation, and then he just roars to the sky. And it's time for a training montage in what is my favorite scene in the film, I think. Because this is
very well shot, interesting, like a training montage across, like with very good effects too.
Right, but it's also where we get all the video game references you could want. Now, I want you all to imagine that you're not a jaded, bitter person and remember what it was like to have that magical moment when you realize that, wait, there's other people out there who share my interests, who are just as nerdy about the things I love as I am. Because what happens is Karnov goes on a training quest with all the great heroes of the NES. You know, working with them one by one to up his fighting skills. And we get the guy from Russian Attack. We get Mighty Bomb Jack, who is composited into the shot to look tiny. It's really funny. And they're all doing, like, their video game animations. They're acting them out really well.
Yeah, we've got classic Samus from Metroid 1 doing spin jumps. We've got the guy from Kung Fu doing moves.
Princess Peach pulling turnips, telling Karnov not to eat his because he's fat enough already. Like, I think she just slaps his belly. We've got Link, you know, a sword fight. We've got a scene with Karnov running through the snow with an ice climber, you know, doing a boxing match with Little Mac. And a good reference to the Karnov game, where when Karnov gets hit in the NES game, he turns blue, and then the second hit kills him. But he was just, he turns blue in this. Oh, he does some target practice with Pit from Kid Icarus, who is just somebody's, like, small child dressed up as a cherub, and it's adorable. He gets his fire breathing back, which, like, we're talking 2005, you know, Windows Movie Maker effects, but they're not terrible.
They're not that bad, honestly. Yeah, they're not that really gross, super, like, you can tell, but, like, they're not, like, abysmal. You know, we're not watching a shark porno here. Like, it's
a shark
it's
what
decent.
Now?
Don't worry about it. Maybe someday we'll get to that.
Not Shark Exorcist, hopefully.
No, maybe someday we'll watch a woman writhe around on the beach.
No, I'm going to say right now, a preemptive ban on Donald Farmer films.
You don't want any you don't want... Wait, yeah, what is it? Isn't his thing puking
it's vomiting.
And
yes.
women? It is, okay, it is, yeah,
it's
vomiting
and women writhing
on the beach. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the beach. It's just the ground.
Oh, yeah, general ground.
Right. But yeah, more training montage. We've got Link in there. We've got Simon Belmont in there. We've got another great reference to the game where he just pulls out a ladder to climb up something. So that's a game mechanic. You have an inventory in NES Karnov that's weird to use, but you can just pull out a ladder, climb up it, and when you climb down, you just like put it back in your pocket.
Oh.
Which is great video game logic. Well, we've also got, I forgot, there's a comp shot with Mega Man where it looks like they're in the game. Like, oh, you didn't have cable, so you didn't have Nickelodeon, so you never watched Nick Arcade.
No.
Do you know the scenes I'm talking about where they would have the kids, like, in the game?
No, I've never seen that.
Oh. They would have the kids, like, on a green screen where they'd have to watch themselves on a screen to, like, swat things around in a video game.
Oh yeah, kind of like an iToy almost, but like,
right.
Yeah.
But, in 1992.
Yeah.
But so Karnov goes through this whole training montage, and we think, okay, he's gearing up to fight, the evil dragon Ryu, who we do briefly see.
Yeah. At the end of the training montage, we see a very poorly, like, this is probably the worst graphic in the movie, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, everything is pretty decent, but this one is
it's
a very
just
rough,
not well composited
dragon.
CG dragon.
Yeah.
And so, Gorp, our town crier page boy, goes back to tell, our 3 gay dad kings, hey, it's looking bad. They've destroyed the villages of Data East, Jalico, and Tenjin. They're all game companies, Data East being the one that made Karnov. And they're very dismissive. Again, they're just like, so? It's like, well, people are dying. We need a hero. So who shows up but our boy, Karnov?
He's back, and he's looking strong as ever.
He's been through his training montage.
It doesn't matter to the gay kings, though. They immediately start insulting him
right.
as soon as he walks in.
They roll their eyes, and they're like, what did we tell you? Like, we need a hero, not a fat old man. So he's like, what can you do? So he uses his fire breath. He blows up a statue, and they're like, oh, now we're talking. Like, you're back, my friend. Why don't you show us what else you can do? Now, what did you think was going to happen at this point, Arthur?
At this point, I will say I felt a bit of a death flag here. I felt something very sinister in the air at this moment.
You didn't think he was going to go fight the dragon?
No, I kind of had a feeling, and then my feeling was proven right, because his first act after of showing them what he's got is pulling the sword from the closest guard's sheath and chucking it directly into the throat of one of the snickering kings.
He sure does. That causes the cum chalice one to pass out. The old one starts fleeing. He also beats the shit out of the town crier, pushes him into the fireplace, and lights him up with his fire breath.
Yeah.
Throws a bomb at the other, the passed out cum chalice king. Explodes him. We get a good, I couldn't tell if it was a mannequin throw or a stunt where somebody just jumps across a hallway. Like, we start getting an actual chase scene with some action work. Okay, I just checked. It looks like a guy jumped across the hallway. Flames. Yeah. And now it's just, Karnov's out for blood. He's killing everybody.
And he's ripping people's heads off. He rips punching people's hearts out. Yeah.
We also get one really cool shot. We see him, like, through a window, beating up a guard. It zooms out to show the king was looking from across the way through another window, like a surprisingly cinematic shot. And the whole place is littered with bodies now. Karnov's chopping heads off with a sword, and the whole time he's just casually strolling around, like he is not running. He is at a leisurely walking pace, probably because the guy playing him is like 60 years old and fat. Yeah. But it adds a certain menace as he is chasing this king.
It should be noted, on his way out to chase the final king, he threw a bomb into the lap of the second king.
Yes.
Blew his ass up.
Blew him up. That was the cum chalice king that got blown up with the bomb. The first one got the sword through the throat.
Yeah.
We also get... now, Karnov does a little Metal Gear, stealthing about. He gets behind some guards, rips a head clean off. Again,
and
like...
throws it at another guy.
Right, throws it at the other guy. Super low budget effects, but like kind of fun. You know, not as amateurish as you would expect. And it's just, as this was all happening, the first time I ever watched this, I'm like... What do you mean he just decided to kill everybody? But then I remembered, well, they were really mean to him. So, he crashed out.
They were quite rude, and then he crashed out. So he's, Karnov is kind of like a streamer.
Yeah, he's justified. Oh, he
absolutely
grows wings at one point, which is a thing he can do in the game. We've got all these great little references to the game, from his bomb to the ladder he stores in his pocket, growing wings, shooting fireballs, turning blue. Like,
and then
if you had been a kid who grew up with these games and saw this, you'd be like, oh, it's just like in the game. But because we weren't bitter, irony-poisoned fucks, you could be genuinely excited about something.
Exactly. Remember being excited about things? Man, that's crazy.
I still do it. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, the newest thing I've been really excited about in that way is Bubsy 4D. I think that game looks awesome.
It looks good. I'm mad that it looks good and that I'm gonna have to play it.
You have to. Did you see that one of the devs who was playtesting speed ran the first level and put out the video?
It looked super fun.
It looked really fun.
I mean, I will always maintain that Bubsy 3D is the best of the classic Bubsy games. That is a genuine opinion of mine. I've played 4 of them. Like, I'm allowed to have that opinion.
That's fair.
They should never make a Bubsy movie.
Now, how does this movie wrap? So we have a finals. The last guard is grabbed.
The king.
Well, wait. The final guard is chucked into a wall, and it was a practical stunt that he did, where he just threw himself across the hallway into a wall.
Yeah, looked good. Like, slid along the floor and everything. With some good, cheesy stock sound effects. But so the king is finally cornered. He's like, I'll give you anything you want. Women, money, whatever you want, just spare me. Karnov. Ominous. We've got, a shot looking up at Karnov. There's a thunderstorm going on. He just reaches down, takes the crown, puts it on his own head, and says, congratulations. And then the film's over. We get a great credits roll, though, with all the, video games that are being referenced.
He does light the third king on fire. It should be, into the credits.
He does then, explode him. It should be noted, the way Karnov on NES ends is you beat the final boss, and you think, okay, there's going to be, some kind of screen or, something like that. Because you always expect... Yeah. When you beat a boss in an NES game, there's got to be some kind of, anything. But it just says, congratulations, the end. Which is why they end the movie the same way. Complete, anti-climax.
It runs into the credits, and you see a few extra scenes here and there. I think some stuff they didn't add into the training montage. And that's it.
That's it. That's the whole film. It's, I think, a delightful time capsule of that period where the internet had reached a point where we could share things like full videos. Enough people had broadband. Technology was getting good enough. We could share, passion like this. We could share our passion for these old games. And they were old games at the time. Karnov came out in 1987. I think it's wonderful. I don't know if schlock's the right word. It's definitely cheesy. But, it's cheesy as a function of... It's a home movie made by a bunch of friends running around in the woods with silly costumes, but it's made out of such genuine love that I can't help but also love it. And somewhat surprisingly, for something, made in the mid-2000s, it's really not at all cringy.
No, I think that was the thing that I commented on that I found the most incredible was that there so much of that early, the 20-aughts gamer culture was, you look back at it and it's either A, extremely cringe, or B, holy fuck, this is edgy.
Right. And it doesn't fall into either of those. Nobody suddenly calls other people racial slurs. We're not, we're not in that kind of territory. It's just a work of genuine love and passion, and it's all underscored by just a big, bald, fat man, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, genuinely incredible. I had a wonderful time with this. It was a lot of fun. It was much better than you would hearing Karnov the movie filmed in 2005 in the forest. You would think your mind paints things, and it really isn't that.
Oh, see, I think that, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good.
Man, I guess I'm just jaded, and
it was though. Well, when I say this is gonna be good, I more mean I'm going to be entertained, not this is going to be a high quality film made by fans. But we were entertained. And
no, absolutely.
More than just the film being entertaining, it's so fun to think about, a bunch of friends getting together, pooling their resources, time, money, expertise. Like they built a bunch of little shacks out in the woods for 2 scenes. They really did a lot of work. And thinking of that part, to me, is almost as much fun as the film itself. Thinking about the effort that goes into it, all because they wanted to make, a silly little movie. One thing I realized we didn't mention that we should, the music used in the film is excellent.
Oh, yes. Yes, it's mostly done by the mini-bosses.
Right. It was all the mini-bosses and the Neskimos. So you've got the classic, mini-bosses, Castlevania theme going on. You've got the Double Dragon theme. And I remember around this time downloading a lot of MP3s to put on my MP3 player, not an iPod yet. But
I was saying I had a few
Metroid
500
Metal,
200
mini bosses,
256 meg and then a whole half a gig as little tiny the handheld ones that just had little digital screens that you would flick back and forth.
Yep.
On the you wouldn't even have a directory.
I had a 64 megabyte Rio MP3 player. Rio were one of the first big brands in MP3 players at that time. And to fit a decent number of songs on there, they all were so low bit rate that they sounded absolutely terrible. But the novelty of I don't need to change tapes or discs, and I've got all of these songs that I downloaded off the internet on this little device.
Yeah, and I'll be real, I was listening to them through the dog shit headphones that came with the CD player.
Oh, yeah.
So I couldn't tell the difference.
We didn't have good headphones. Even then I could tell, it doesn't sound as good as a CD or a cassette, but it's cool because I can just swap songs on and off of it. I found a picture of the exact model I had.
Oh, man. This box.
I probably have one. It might still be in a drawer somewhere. But hearing things like the mini bosses, it's I remember downloading that music and putting it on something like that and thinking, man, this is cool. So I'm just imagining, if I had seen this 20 years ago, I would have thought it was fucking sick. I mean, I still think it is. But you know what I mean? If I had seen this as a teenager, I would have thought it was awesome. So I think, job well done. Also, good job to the director for convincing their, father or uncle or whoever to play Karnov.
Yeah, he fit the role very well.
Genuinely a pretty decent acting performance. All he needed to do was look stern and violent. He did a great job.
Yeah.
But I hope that for everybody listening to this, 2 things. 1, watch Karnov the movie from 2005. 2, play Karnov on NES. It's really fun. It's one game I always recommend because people ask me all the time, Bloom, what are good, cheap NES games? Because people want to get into retro gaming, but they think it's going to be too expensive. I can't afford all that. You can. Just don't, try to buy the top 10 most popular games exclusively. I mean, obviously buy Mario. Mario's $5. Never pay more than $5 for Mario.
Oh, yeah.
You can pay $5 for Mario. But, play games that maybe you haven't heard of as much. You might have a lot of fun. Karnov is a really fun game. It's not that hard. It's a little hard. But, then you get better at it and you beat it and you had a lot of fun. Play Karnov.
Play Karnov. I'll try. I will try it.
You should. You don't have to stream it, though it would be funny for your chat to bully you while you play Karnov. You don't want people saying, but Arthur, Bloom beat Karnov in 2 hours.
That's not fair. That's not a fair assessment. Listen,
I know my retro tastes skew a little older than yours, which is to say janky and weird.
Yeah, I am one for quality and polish and you grew up I grew up in the era of like going back to the past of retro games and being able to be very picky choosy. You grew up in the era of I just have to fucking play what you got used to.
These are the games I have access to. I'm gonna play them.
Yeah, you built a cartilage over your fingers that I did not.
Okay, but Karnov is actually not very janky. Like, it controls really well. It's not super unfair. There's not like horrible blind jumps or anything.
Yeah.
It's fine. You should play it. It's kind of tough. Maybe have a turbo controller.
Oh boy.
Or, well, how are you at button mashing?
I'm pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, you just need a high fire rate. Because it's almost like a shmup in parts.
Okay.
Which is pretty fun. But yeah, that's it.
Not...
Just short little 1.75 to tide people over.
Yep, just a little thing that we threw together, but we will be back next week, and hopefully next week will be episode 2, the official episode 2. We should be doing an episode on Conquest, and honestly,
Fulci's
it's
Conquest.
It's kind of going to be a split episode because I think we're going to have a lot to say about weapons.
We've
been holding this one in for a while. It's going to be probably a dual episode of Conquest and weapons.
We're gonna have
just because we
need spoiler warning for weapons.
Oh yeah, we're gonna spoil the shit out of it. Like we have to talk about the best parts.
It'll have been out for a month yet by that point. People can go see it. If you haven't yet, get to your theater right now and go see it.
I don't know if you have in your chat, but I have been pushing that movie. Like, anyone who asks me what should I go see, I know you know about movies, Arthur. Like, it is that. It is weapons. It is the best thing in the theater right now. Like, flat out.
In the what?
See you next week, everybody.
Bye, everyone.